Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Darian. I'm back here with Darian the Dev, and today I'm gonna talk to you guys about should you be applying for jobs while you're still in coding bootcamp. So the reason I absolutely say yes to should you be applying for jobs while you're in coding bootcamp is for a number of reasons. You're not gonna hear back from all of them, and that's kind of like an obvious point, but you're in a sense playing a numbers game just a little bit. Certain things are kind of a toss-up, right? So you don't know if each company is going to be using an ATS or an automated tracking system, and if they're just looking for keywords per application, and that's how they get moved on to the next round of the interview process of who to follow up with. Or you don't know if this company is actually having somebody actually read through and see, what skills does this person have, or does this person sound like somebody who's passionate about technology, programming. Like, you just never know. Every company has different resources, every company has a different process, every company has different staffing situations, so there's just really no way of knowing. And so that's one reason I think it's really great to just apply to anything that makes sense. And usually if you're in the boot camp realm, anywhere from 0 to 3 years of experience, if the job is asking for that, that's usually in the good good sign that you should apply realm, is between, if they're looking for 0 to 3 years of experience or work related experience, whatever the case. I think those things are great, and I think you should apply for all of those jobs, or as many as possible, for sure. Another reason I think it's important is because then you learn how to apply and you can try different approaches with different companies. So you might see some junior developer positions, and you might see or get asked certain questions on applications, about certain things. For a junior developer position, you might find some sort of, QA position. You'll notice that different jobs have different terminology, different wording. So some places might call you a software developer, some places might call you a software engineer, some places might call you a junior software developer, some places might call you a junior software engineer. There's all these different terminologies and all these different questions you're going to be asked on different applications, and different things you're going to be expected to present and to know. And every company, has different checkpoints, milestones for what they look for in a candidate. So the only way to get familiar with how to kind of better fine-tune how to present yourself as an applicant is to just apply for as many jobs as possible, in my opinion. And then you'll get a better feel for what companies are looking for, what words and phrases and keywords continue to pop up on different applications over and over and over again. So I really don't think it hurts. And also, I would say, if you even have multiple resumes, I think it's a great idea where you might try certain keywords and skills on one resume, but try different keywords and skills on the other resume, or different wording on the other resume. Just anything to diversify your approach and diversify how you present yourself to companies, and giving yourself as many chances to get a follow-up interview as possible. And that comes from applying to as many jobs as possible that still make sense. So don't go apply for a senior development position, of course, or some type of 5-year experience position is something that you haven't touched ever. But if it's within the 0 to 3 years of experience, and it's something that you've gone to coding bootcamp for, or you've been building projects in that certain set of skills and languages that they're asking for, then I definitely think you should apply. The third reason I think applying to a lot of jobs while you're in coding bootcamp is good is because you give yourself more chances for your first interview. And the reason why I say the first interview is so important is because that first technical interview is really going to be slightly nerve-wracking for you, just because you don't know what to expect yet. So you have to get the first interview just out of the way, essentially, before you can really begin to settle in and just feel kind of like how you would at a regular job interview. But for technology, if it's a new industry for you, it could be a little bit intimidating to sit with somebody who's been doing this for 25 years or 15 years, and you are just now coming into the game, and you're trying to really prove yourself, or prove what you know, and you're fighting for a spot in this industry. So it can be slightly intimidating to not know what to expect to be asked, or not to be expected to know, or to not really know what you're expected to know. Can be kind of a nerve-wracking thing. So I would say the more places that you apply to while you're in coding bootcamp, you give yourself a chance to get that first interview out of the way. And even if you crush it, that's awesome. But if you fail it, or you don't crush it, or you don't get the job, or whatever the first interview you get, then that's extremely fine, and it's a lot more normal and okay than you probably think. So one of the things I was told in my coding bootcamp is that they encouraged all of us to get denied at least once. And that might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but in reality, I understand why they said that now, because you're going to have more than likely one bad technical interview. And I think it's just kind of like a rite of passage for anybody who is coming into software development. Is there's so much to know that you can't know everything when you need to know everything. And that's why we have Google, that's why we have Stack Overflow, that's why we have GitHub, all the online resources we have as a development community. There's always places for support and to learn, and for resources, because there's just no way you can know everything. And even if you're 10 years deep into a certain skill set or language, there's still gonna be things you forget. And so in that interview setting, when nerves kick in, or you're put on a spot, or you actually do a timed solution to a coding challenge, you might forget certain things about a language. I mean, literally, guys, it really just happens. And like I said, this happened to me, so you guys can go check out my video about failing my first technical interview. But the point is that the more places that you apply to, the better odds you have of getting that first interview. And then that way, if you don't pass the interview, then you get a lot of valuable experience with how to handle yourself in a technical interview, what you're expected to speak about or speak on, and what the right answers sound like, what the wrong answers sound like. And then if you do very well in your first interview, then at least you had a chance to get the first interview out the way, because you applied to a lot of jobs during bootcamp. So I think it's a win-win either way it goes, but I for sure think you should be applying, because even if you don't get those jobs or interviews or whatever, you're prepping yourself as a candidate for the first opportunity that does come your way. And whether that's a callback, or your first in-person interview, or your first technical interview, your first whiteboard challenge, each job you apply for and interview at is going to help prepare you for the next one. So I think that's for sure a big reason why you should apply for jobs while you're still in coding bootcamp. And then a fourth reason why I think you should continue to apply for jobs during coding bootcamp is because you could receive multiple offers. And so why not play the field to a certain degree? Why not see how much different employers might value your skill set, or how they might value you differently? And so this, I believe wholeheartedly, because it happened to me. So I received 3 job offers after coding bootcamp, and I turned down 2. And I also have a video about that if you guys want to go back and check that one out. But you just never know what could happen if you apply to multiple jobs. And I would continue to encourage that, because you just don't know which job. It doesn't matter how much you prepare for a certain job application or interview, or how much you learn about the company. It doesn't even matter who you think that you know, because every company handles things differently for various reasons. And so, nothing is going to necessarily guarantee that you get into a certain job when you're applying online like everyone else. So instead of putting all your eggs into like one or a few baskets, I would say, send out as many applications as possible, and give yourself a chance to kind of be the hunted instead of the hunter, if that makes sense. Because when you start receiving those interviews, and you start doing well in those interviews and feeling comfortable and getting job offers, then you got a lot more leverage for, offers that come after that, to either negotiate your pay, or negotiate maybe your actual schedule, or your role or position. There's just like a lot of things that open up if you have more options to explore, and you don't feel so pressured to commit to one offer, but you know, you might feel like you have to if it's your only job offer. So I would just say give yourself the best chance for success by applying to as many jobs as possible and continuing to explore opportunities. And so don't be closed-minded, you know, be open to different places you might not have heard of, be open to different job titles that you might not, you know, have initially been aware of, because there's so many different avenues and technology you can go down that until you really get that face-to-face interview and you talk to that person who's going to be hiring you or who might be a manager of yours or something, and you actually hear what that role consists of and what it could lead to and what advancement opportunities are at their company and how they do promotions, there's just so many things that you won't know unless you put yourself out there to find out. And I think the best way to do that is by continually and consistently applying for jobs over and over and over while you're in coding bootcamp. And also don't forget that it's gonna take at least maybe like 2 to 3 weeks before you hear back from any of them, whether it's a yes or a no too. So I think that's another reason why you should get heavily on that application, you know, hustle very early on, or as early on as possible in the coding bootcamp. So that's just my experience, guys, on applying for jobs while I was in coding bootcamp, and those are my thoughts on it. So if you guys have any experiences you'd like to share or let me know about, go ahead and leave me some comments down in the comment section below. I love chatting with you guys about this stuff. If this video was helpful at all, I would really super appreciate if you guys could leave me a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps me with motivation to keep making these videos for you guys. So yeah, I've got more content coming your way really soon, guys, and I'll be seeing you next video. All right, peace.